Oh, hello there, King Waspinator. We had a lot of good and big movie news and entertainment news, nerd news come out this week. Uh, so I felt I'd throw a few thoughts down. Starting off, I guess in chronological order. Over the weekend, we found out Kevin Smith is going to be producing, show running a He-Man series, not a reboot, but a picking up and recontinuation of the original He-Man cartoon for Netflix. And it's one of those decisions that at first when you hear it, you're like, Kevin Smith? After a couple minutes of thinking about it, you actually kind of realize this is actually a pretty good fit. Kevin Smith is a big, nice man-child. Uh, he seems to know a lot about the lore. I'm not a huge He-Man person. I mean, that's something I played with when I was 5 or 6 before switching over to Transformers. Um, but it could be interesting, and I like the sound of it. And the thing that's really miraculous about it is that, for the most part, the internet seems to be cool with the idea. Most times, you get pretty much announcements for anything nowadays, and everyone sets their hair on fire and just immediately just starts trying to push everyone out of windows. And it's not a fun time. But for some reason, the idea of Kevin Smith making He-Man seems to be resonating with the vast majority of people on a positive note. Much like Disney and Sony having a big public breakup over Spider-Man, and Spider-Man getting yanked out of the MCU, which has caused the internet to set its hair on fire. And that's probably was Disney's intent all along. Create a big public furor as a negotiation chip to force Sony to capitulate to their wants. Personally, I don't know whatever happened to the art of haggling. Disney wants more money, and they say 50%, and Sony immediately says, no, fuck you, we're gone. They don't say, nah, maybe we'll give you 10%. And then they haggle back and forth until they find something compromising in the middle. I don't know. I don't think anybody on YouTube knows enough about the situation to really be blaming either company per se. They're likely both at fault because they're both gigantic, super greedy mega corporations. But I don't know. I guess Sony's the underdog in this instance. Sony's so goddamn inconsistent sometimes. They make good movies. Slightly more often, they make bad movies. We have slightly more bad Spider-Man movies under them than we had good Spider-Man movies under them. But they do have Lord and Miller running Spider-Man for them now. So if there's anyone who could pull this off, only time will tell. It's not a done deal, I don't think. I'm very much in the camp of people who think that the whole fact that this is leaked publicly the way it is was purposely done to create a big fan outcry to try to pressure Sony into giving in. And in the midst of all this, though, our third little bit of nerd news that have emerged this week is that Lana Wachowski is going to be writing and directing a fourth Matrix movie. And apparently they've already locked down Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss. Now, the Carrie-Anne Moss part is what really catches my attention when I first heard the news. I was very much like, what the fuck is Carrie-Anne Moss doing in this? She's dead. She had her chest punched out with steel girders. Neo, at least, died in a vague way where his mind might still be in the Matrix, and they just showed him dragging his body off, but the body might not have been dead. They might have just stuck him back into one of their little pods, and he's just asleep. But Carrie-Anne Moss being in it makes me think there's one of two things happening. That if this is a proper sequel and an actual fourth Matrix movie, then maybe she's playing a projected image of Keanu's desires and wants for Trinity to still be with him, and so she's just a projection of himself in a way, but she's not actually real because she is dead. Or they use all the digital de-aging technology that's going around right now on Keanu and Carrie-Anne and whoever else they get back to put them back to how they looked in between Matrix 1 and Matrix Reloaded, and we finally get the lost middle chapter of the Matrix that we never got. To me, a big problem with the Matrix trilogy is that it's not really a proper trilogy. You had your opening story about the hero discovering his powers, And then you had a closing story of the hero fulfilling prophecy, except that closing story was really long, and so they chopped that movie in half, and that's why we have a trilogy. But the story itself is not a proper trilogy of stories. We never got the fun, romping middle chapter of just getting to see our hero and his friends going through an adventure intact from start to finish, resolving it, and him learning to master the powers that he unlocked in the first part. And so that's my personal desire for what this Matrix movie will be. We'll see. It's certainly timely, considering how much red-pilling references and physicists and philosophers trying to convince everyone we're living in a simulation has been going on ever since the first Matrix came out. And then there was one other bit of movie news that came out this week. What was it? Oh, yeah, the Amazon rainforest is burning down. That's pretty cool. Still waiting to hear casting on that. And I hear they're looking for a distributor. Disney would be foolish to pass this one by. I mean, they're always looking for big franchises. And the entire Amazon rainforest burning down, that's pretty big. So anyway, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, share, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. Have a good one.